I don't even know if my phone is going to die over here. Okay, okay. Why is it always doing that? Oh, the phone just came on. Who went to the door? Okay, you're doing the mouse. Hey, Joy. Is that, which Joy is that? All right, y'all. What time is it? It is 8:04. Let's talk about staffing. I'm trying to set up my, oh, shoes. I forgot to do something today. I got to go do it. I just remembered. Okay. All right, y'all. Tonight, we're going to be talking about, I want to pull up something. We're going to be talking about healthcare staffing, but I want to talk about the money. For those of you who don't know me or who's new to my life, my name is Shanika Sadler. I'm a registered nurse, well, a former registered nurse for the past 17 years. And for the past 6 years, I own a healthcare staffing agency, or I've been in the healthcare staffing space. After working for many travel agencies and realizing that they're making money off of me, a lot of money off of me. And I told myself, I can do this. I'm going to do this. And I started my own healthcare staffing agency, VIP Healthcare, in 2020, the end of 2019, 2020. I'm trying to log into something now. And it's been a journey, but a good one, because now I actually get to experience, I don't know the password for this. I get to experience the other side of healthcare, the business side of healthcare, why healthcare is, I think healthcare is in total, not just healthcare staffing, is a $1 trillion industry. But on the healthcare staffing side, healthcare staffing is a $400+ billion industry and growing, right? So I want to talk about Google Alerts. Is this the one? Okay, this is the one I'm looking for. So tonight I want to talk about money in healthcare staffing. How do you make money? What does that look like? If you are a new agency owner, not to be afraid to charge what your agency's worth, right? Not to be afraid of those things, and not to think, because there's a belief. I'm trying to fix everything. There's a belief in, I think it's business too. There's a belief that when you're new in business, you have to charge a lower price to get your foot in. I don't believe that, especially in this space. I believe that you're going to do the work to provide quality staff to these facilities, right? So why am I lowballing myself? Now you can negotiate your rates, so don't get me wrong about that. Like you can, hey Zara, you can negotiate your rates, but you're not going to negotiate your rate with the mindset that I'm going to charge less because I'm going to get more contracts signed, or I'm going to charge less because I'm so new that nobody's not going to want to do business with me. That's not the mindset of you want to come in with. You want to be competitive with the market. You want to do market research. So your bill rate should reflect market research independent on the area. Now we know every state pay nurses, healthcare professionals different. So you want to do your market research when it comes to your bill rate, right? So tonight I want to talk about money, right? Because we need to talk about money. We're running a business, like I always say, it's not a hobby. So we want to talk about money in healthcare staffing. How do we make money? Like, how do you make money? And here, oh, I see a couple of nurses. Oh, hey, nurse BRN. I like BRN. That's so different. It's like PRN with a B. So, especially, let's say, how do you make money in this business? And what I was saying, so if you have a comment, or, you have a question, excuse me, you can drop it in the chat as we go along. I love especially working with my nurses. Being a nurse myself, a former nurse, I can still consider myself a nurse. When we get to the business side of healthcare, it's like a whole new world. It's like you feel like someone lied to you, right? It's like you feel like there was like a secret door that nobody wanted to open for you. And now you figured out that the healthcare industry is a business. Okay, we have to call it what it is. But when you become a business owner in the healthcare staffing space, especially being a nurse, it's like the sky is bluer. It's like, where have this been all my life, right? And, oh, hey, nurse. Hey, girl. And you also realize that you come with the skill set and the expertise to dominate in any healthcare business because you have the skill set, right? Your nursing education, whether you are LPN, you're a CNA, you're a BSN RN, an associate, a 2-year RN, an MSN, an NP, whatever you are, that skill, that knowledge, that learning, that taking the NCLEX, that's your prerequisite to running a business, because you already know a lot of things. You already know what patient outcome's supposed to be. You already know what burnout feel like, right? You already know what it's supposed to look like. So you can craft a great solution for these facilities. And that's why my nurses, hey, Vinny, and that's why my nurses, king of CPR, and that's why my nurses and my healthcare professionals are the best people to start these business. Like, I kid you not. I feel like every nurse should have a business, even if it start off as a side hustle or something you're doing on the side and you want to build it up. Every nurse, every healthcare professional should have a business, because we are the one that's actually driving the bus in healthcare. We are the one actually taking care of the patient. We're the one at the bedside. We should be profiting a large amount of money, and nothing is wrong with that, from this industry. Healthcare will not be what it is if we did not have nurses and healthcare professionals, right? But for somewhere along the line, and you guys could drop a comment if you guys agree, if you guys don't disagree. I mean, if you guys don't agree, if you guys have your own opinion. I don't know what fell. Sorry. If you guys have your own opinion, somewhere else. Ooh. What is going on? I think I need a bigger desk. I'm trying to live stream on 2 different platforms. Sorry, y'all. Somewhere along the line, we was taught. I don't know what's going on. Okay, maybe they don't want me to talk about money. Sorry, y'all. My other setup over here is like, I don't know, maybe they don't want me to talk about money, but we're going to talk about the money. Somewhere along the line, now I lost my train of thought. Well, somewhere along the line, we were told that, especially as nurses, that the bedside was all that it was, right? This is what we learned in nursing school. We didn't learn anything else, right? Or wherever, if you're not a nurse, whatever. We are trained to provide care. We are trained to be employees, right? And some people say, well, nursing school don't teach you business. That's not the goal of nursing school. The goal of nursing school is not to make you an entrepreneur nurses. Like, if you think nursing school is going to teach you how to become a nurse entrepreneur or to run a business, that's not what it is for. Nursing school is solely for you to be a caretaker at the bedside, even remote nursing now, even I used to do travel nursing, I used to do case management, I used to do all of that. That's what nursing school is for. Nursing school is not going to teach you how to become an entrepreneur. And if you feel like after nursing school and after you pass your NCLEX and you put down that book and that's all the learning stuff, that's where you fail. Right? That's where you fail. That's what nursing school for. But the good thing about going to nursing school is you have the prerequisite to know exactly what your industry needs. So if you've been a nurse for whatever, 1 year, 2 year, whatever it's been, you have that bedside knowledge, you have that bedside experience. So why not take that knowledge and that experience, and you already have relationships, right? A lot of nurses, when I talk to a lot of nurses, I said, you already have relationships. My home care business is so tough. Nursing school didn't teach me about entrepreneurship. It's not supposed to. It's not supposed to teach you. That's not what it's for. And we be mad. And we be mad at nursing school. Well, nursing school should teach this, or they should teach you how to be an entrepreneur. That'll probably be a whole another 2 years of nursing school. And when we want to get in and get out, pass the NCLEX and go do what we got to do and be a PRN princess, That's not what nursing school is for. You have to learn this on your own, or you have to take other additional classes or stuff like that. But it's there for you. I learned this through mentorship. I learned this through reading. I learned this through conferences, and I'm still learning, right? But the great thing about nursing school, like I said, it gives you a foundation, right? Because if you can survive nursing school, you can definitely run this business. You can definitely run this business. So let's talk about money. If you guys have any questions about money in this industry, I posted something earlier today. One of my posts not too long ago, probably like 2 hours ago, because I was reading an article in SIA magazine. It's called Staffing Industry Analyst. I'm a corporate member. It's something it's staffing. It talks about all genres of staffing, from IT to trucking to light industry to healthcare, right? It talks about every industry. But I was reading the article, and it was talking about the top 10 industries, right? The top 10 firms, agencies that made billions of dollars. Like, we're not talking about millions of dollars anymore. We're talking about billionaires. Like, a millionaire was so foreign to us when we were younger. Now it's just like, okay, people make $1 million every day. Some people make $1 million in an hour. Like, so it's just so foreign to us. So the $1 billion is like the new currency that a lot of people are striving to get to, right? So, one of the largest healthcare staffing agency in America is Aya Healthcare. If you're a travel nurse, you more than likely work for them, because they have something what's called a vendor management or MSP system, where they handle boutique, smaller subcontract with other agencies, like my agencies and other agencies. So you may have picked up a travel contract through a agency, but it's really through Aya Health, right? Aya Healthcare made in 2004, they made $1 billion. They crossed the $1 billion line, right? Oh, they did? Oh, shoot. We're going to talk about that, Vinny. That 2004, I'm going to show you how great this industry is. And when people say it's oversaturated, when people say that it's not making no money, I'm going to show you this. $1 billion in 2024. So that was what they made in 2024, right? In 2025, they closed out at $6.3 million, right? So from 2024, they did 1 billion, because that's what I looked at last year, 2025. That's what I read, 1 billion. I was like, wow, they did $1 billion. Wow, good for them. 2025, they did $6.3 billion. That's a 500% increase in revenue or more, whatever. $6.3 billion. We're not talking all 10 of these companies on this list I'm looking at. None of them are in the $1 million. Not 100 million, not 1 million. None of them are there. None of them are there. Aya Healthcare did $6.3 billion. Radstead Holding, they also do healthcare. They did $4.12 billion. Express Employment Professionals, they do healthcare, but they do other industries too. They're more of a franchise opportunity. We're going to talk about it. CHG Healthcare Services, I used to work for them as a nurse. And I have worked with Aya Healthcare in North Carolina when I used to travel. $2.8 billion. Jackson Healthcare did $2.5 billion. Jackson Healthcare been around for a long time too. It's owned by this man named something Jackson, right? And that's just the healthcare one. So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of 10, 5 is healthcare staffing. The other ones like Kelly Services, I think they do like I know they don't do healthcare. Manpower Group, I think it's like industry and different ring. So 5 out of the top 10 staffing agencies in America is healthcare. It's healthcare. And none of these, I know the guy that owned Jackson, if you can Google him, he's not a healthcare professional. I definitely know the guy that owned Aya Health. He's a young guy. He was in tech and he started off doing traveling. If you read the story, that's why it's good to read and to know. He started off as a tech guy in Southern California, and he saw the need for travel nursing. And then he built a travel nursing platform. That's how Aya Healthcare started. Go and read the story if you don't believe me, right? CHG Healthcare Services, also not healthcare professional. Radstead Holding, not healthcare professional. So what I'm saying to my healthcare professional is, Why are we allowing others to come into an industry that we bust our butts to go to school, pass the NCLEX, study real hard, but they're the ones that come in and make the billions of dollars? There is no $1,000,000 agency on this chart, right? Together, they made $127 billion together. 10 companies, $127 billion. There's no $1,000,000 companies. There's companies that probably made 900 million, which is still crazy. They didn't even make the list. So imagine your company making $900 million and you didn't make the list because you're not in the $1 billion sector. So when people tell me that, when I talk to people and they say, well, healthcare staffing is oversaturated and there's so many other agencies and there's so many this and there's so many that, I'd be like, baby, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. Because if Aya Healthcare can go from a $1 billion company in 2024 to a $6.3 billion company in 2025 with a 500% increase in evaluation or revenue or whatever the case may be, and you are coming in saying you just want $500K or $1 million, why you can't do that? Why you can't do that? You already know everything. You already know patient care. You already know what short staffing look like. You already know what burnout look like. My nurses, my healthcare professionals, like, why not you? What are we so afraid of that betting on ourselves after going to nursing school or doing whatever healthcare, services you do? Why are we stuck clocking in and clocking out? Why don't we think that we can elevate above where we are, where we desire to be? There's like a mindset shifting I believe that we need to have, right? What I also noticed with a lot of these billion-dollar agency is that they learn how to build relationship. There was an article, I don't know if I have the magazine. There's an article, and the owner of Aya Healthcare, I forgot his name, he was talking about it in this same magazine. See, I get the magazines to me because I need to know what's going on in my industry. And if you're not learning about what's going on in the industry, I get these. I think this is the March, April. I just got the May, June one in my room and I'm going through it. So he was saying that one of the things that he did to make his agency grow much more was building relationship and taking care of his employees, taking care of his nurses. That's what he said. Basically, so much gatekeeping. It's not gatekeeping in the industry. I'm going to tell you what it is, Remar. And thank you for being on my live. I've been following you for a long, long time. I actually took your NCLEX review for nursing school back in when was this? 2009. But there's not gatekeeping. There is not. Oh, that's his name, Alan Bynum. Okay, Alan. So it's not gatekeeping in the industry. Let me tell you what it is. It's that we do not ask the right questions. When we get in rooms where we can ask the questions from the people that are in the rooms that will give us the information, we don't feel like we belong there, so we don't ask questions. We are the one who casts ourselves out. You think if I'm in the room with the owner of Aya Healthcare, I'm asking him something. I'm finding a way to talk to him. Or one of these other one of these billion-dollar agencies, I'm finding a way to talk to him. It's not gate kept. We just don't ask question, or we feel like they're billionaires and they won't talk to me, or they're millionaires and they won't talk to us, right? And then sometimes also you're not ready for that information. So as a billionaire, a billionaire is not going to waste their time. Right? Their time is so valuable, right? They don't consider time as money, but it's so valuable. So if they're going to even give you a 2-minute answer, or even if they're going to say, hey, reach out to me, we can sit down and have a conversation. And when you get with the conversation, you don't have anything to ask them, or they don't have time for that. So you have to prepare yourself for not situations, it's not events. I can't find the word right now. You have to prepare yourself for those experiences or those situations that you may end up in, right? You have to put yourself in the right rooms. We have to start putting ourselves in the right room. And another thing is that it's not gate kept. Sometimes we expect things to be just given to us and not earned. And when we feel like it should be given to us and not earned, we say, oh, nobody want to tell us anything. Everything is gate kept. No, you sometimes have to earn it. Like, I'm a billionaire and I'm like, okay, call me. We can do our conference. I can tell you what I do in my business. Da 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 da. You don't follow up with me. You don't call me, or you get on the phone. You're not ready. You're not prepared. You didn't prepare yourself. You don't have any questions. You want me to just pour into you. No, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You have to prepare yourself for opportunities that present themselves to you. That's the word I was looking for, right? Because I solely believe that when you're ready for an opportunity, it will present itself to you and there will be no gatekeeping. No gatekeeping at all, right? So the information is there, right? The information is there. You just have to prepare yourself for it. And you have to also understand that no one is going to waste their time on somebody that's not really prepared and 100 fully focused on their goals and their dreams, because you're wasting their precious time when they could have been pouring that into somebody else. So I wanted to say that. So let's talk about money. Y'all have a question? Drop money in the chat. If y'all want to talk about money. How do you make money in healthcare staffing? What does that look like? Oh, that pink lemonade is pink lemonade. Okay, Joy, money. So it's a business, right? It's a business in healthcare, and I just told you what the industry is doing. And this is 2005. They don't have the 2006 numbers yet. We'll have it in a couple of months, right? How do you make money in healthcare staffing? We have something called a bill rate. So a bill rate, and it sounds just like what it is. A bill rate is what you're going to charge your clients for your services. Now, a bill rate only applies if you're doing like PRN, travel nursing, travel contract. If you're doing permanent placement or the recruiter model of staffing, you're going to charge a placement fee. So the bill rate is not going to apply there. But you also make sure you put it in your contract that you're going to charge 20%, 25%, 30%, depending on the skill set of the professional you're placing. So that's the only time it don't apply. But your bill rate speaks to your client. It tells your client, for every hour this RN works, we're going to charge you, let's say $80 every hour. So we're going to charge you $80 every hour. But that's not just the end of it. So we have our $80. Now we have to work backwards. We have to come down the stairs, right? So out of this $80, there's a couple of things that we need to have in this $80. So bill rate, there's 4 pieces to the bill rate. And you need all 4 parts of this to have a true bill rate. If you miss a part of the 4 part, if you miss a step, your bill rate is going to be off. Your numbers are going to be off. You're going to think you're making money, but you're truly not making any money. And when you look at your account, it's going to not look like how you thought it was going to look because you missed a step, right? So the first piece of the bill rate is your burden. And it sounds just like what it is. This is your taxes, right? Every state have different taxes, but every state has FICA, Medicare, and Social Security. That doesn't change. Every state, I think, is 7.65% right now. It may change, it may go up depending on what how the government feels. But that's just across America, right? So every state will have that. Your burden includes unemployment tax rate, right? It includes state tax if you're in a state that pays state taxes. I live in Florida. If I had an agency in Florida, we won't pay state taxes. So these are things you can this is just public information. You can Google to see if your state have state taxes and what's the percentage of the state taxes. Also with the unemployment tax percentage, it really depends. If you're a new employer, sometimes your rate is higher for 1 to 3 years until you become like an experienced employer. So the rates will different, right? So you have that. So you have your FICA, you have your state unemployment taxes. Your state taxes, your unemployment taxes. You have your funding fee. If you're going to use other people's money to fund your payroll, which I highly suggest you do because it will help you expand, it will help you scale, it won't hold you back because it's like you have an infinite bank account when it comes to staffing, and you have a team of people that's making sure that that you're partnering with the right clients, partnering with the right facility, and all of that good stuff, right? That's what going through your burden. So funding companies charge sometimes 2%, sometimes 3%. So whatever your contracts say, that's 3%. Let me see, I have some notes here. So those are the things, right here. So payroll factor in, workers' comp, state unemployment taxes, FICA, and state taxes depending on your state. So that's called your burden. And sometimes you can add your payroll processing fee. Now, your payroll processing fee won't be a set number because as you grow your agency, that fee will change because it's based on the amount of employees that you have. So the more staff you bring on, that fee will change. So that should be like a variable, right? And you change it as you go, but you still need to include it because your thought set should be anything I pay out is a burden and it should be covered in my bill rate. So my true profit, we're going to talk about that. So my true profit is truly my profit. So those are some of the things that go into your bill rate. Into your burden. Also check if you're in a state that has like county tax or local tax or like different taxes. Like if I was in New York, in the Bronx, we have county tax. Then we have city taxes. Like can't even, they just taxes. So you always want to check that also because when you talk about the employee taxes, because these are going to be your professional, all of that is going to go into when you run your payroll. So you want to make sure that your numbers are right? And all of that's going to affect your profit. So that's burden. That's the first part of your bill rate. We're working backwards. The next part of your bill rate is, where did I write it down? Is your overhead. Now, when you're starting out, you're not going to have a high overhead. And what is your overhead? Your overhead is what you actually use to run your back end of your business, like whatever applicant tracking system you use, whatever payroll you use, how much is going to charge you to run ads so you can get professionals, any little thing, if you bought a printer, whatever subscription, whatever you need to make sure that your agency is 100% functional, that's your overhead, right? So if you have an applicant tracking system and they charge you $200 a month, that's an overhead. That's a cost you need to run your business. So you want to calculate that and break it down to what hourly rate, so you can add it to your what's labor edge, so you can add it to your bill rate, right? So that's your overhead. Now here's the sweet part, your profit margin. So your profit margin is the money you put into your pocket every hour for your client, for your professional working, right? That's what a profit margin is called. That is a part of your bill rate, right? Your profit margin, right? That's a part of your bill rate. So say for every hour this RN work, I'm charging the facility $80, but I'm actually making but my profit margin is $15. So the other $65 goes into pay rate, burden, overhead, and $15 is my profit. Me, the CEO, the owner, it's my profit, right? So if this employee works 40 hours a week, what's that, 400 or more? I don't know. Somebody do the math for me, right? That's my profit off of this one professional working. Now, let's do an easy math. Let's say it's $500 a day after they work their shift. So a week. So $500 a week I'd make off of this one professional working. Now, if I have 10 people working, you times that and you get your number. Right? So that's how staffing work, your profit margin, right? And number 4 is your pay rate. So your pay rate is critical to put into your bill rate because your pay rate tells you, I'm going to pay my staff this, right? So you want to know your pay rate. You don't want to guess your pay rate, because I've seen agency to guess their pay rate, but when they put out their ads, they get no click. Nobody applied to it because you're not competitive with the market. You need to do your research. Like, why am I coming over here working for $45 an hour when somebody over there paying $60 for the same job, or another agency in the building is paying $60? and you're paying 45, you're not going to get any candidates. You may get one candidate, I doubt it, but you may get one candidate, but that's going to be somebody that's probably, don't have great work ethics or something like that. I've seen it happen. It has happened to me when I started out. So you want to make sure whatever area that you're going to staff in, you want to do your research and you want to make sure that you're competitive. Look and see if you can find what the other agencies are paying, right? What are they paying in the area? So you want to be competitive with them. You don't want to lowball yourself. And this is when I say, do not lowball yourself, because it doesn't make sense for you to have a signed contract, because everybody's so focused on the contract. Hey, Maggie. Everybody's so focused on the contract. It doesn't make sense for you to have a signed contract and you can't staff it. The contract is just one thing. Staffing it is where the real money is at. Filling those shifts is where the real money is at. That volume is where the real money is at. Just like in home care, you can have a client, you can have a client that's 24 hours, 7 days a week, but if you don't have anybody to go in there to build insurance for it, you just have a client that you can't service. It's the same thing in healthcare. You may have in healthcare staffing, you may have a client that's giving you a lot of hours, but because you can't pay them what they're worth or what's competitive in the area, you just have a paper sign, but you can't fulfill it. So you want to think about the whole thing. What am I going to pay my staff? What is going to be my burden? What's going to be my overhead? And what's going to put in my pocket, right? And I'm not saying that you cannot negotiate. You may have to negotiate, because one thing a facility is going to ask you is, can we negotiate the rates? I get that question all the time. I never send over a contract and the facility was like, yes, we signed it, your rates are good. It's always, your rates are too high. That's it, right? I never get, oh, your rates are too low, you should increase them. Never. Like in the 6 years I've been doing this, 6.5 years, I never got that. I always get, your rates are too high, can we negotiate your rates? I always get that, right? And it's easier to start off high and come down than to start off at your rate low and try to go up. It doesn't make you look professional. It doesn't make you look like you know what you're doing. So just take your time and do your research. We have a lot of tools that can help you research. You can ask Chat, you can ask Claude, you can go into Indeed. There's a lot of tools that I didn't have when I started my business, that if you're starting your business now, can 10x your business within a year. Like, there's so much tools. You just literally have to be the human person behind the business. There's so much tools. Like, you can 100% AI automate your agency, which I'm going to be teaching in a couple of months, right? So that's what you want to do with your bill rates. But how do you make profit? Like, how do I make profit? So you want to work off of volume. That's how you make profit. What they would say, we say volume, y'all say shifts. It's the same thing. So when the facilities send you over their hours, right? Some of them will send you 500 hours, which is their open shift. It adds up 200 hours. You want to fill those shifts. That's how you make your money. So if you're doing volume, if you're doing, say, 500 hours a week, that's a $10,000 to $15,000 a week profit, right? You're doing that 4 times a month, right? And that could just be one facility. You're doing that 4 times a month. That's what? That's 60,000. Now imagine if you had 2 or 3 facilities that you can do this with. And I'm talking from experience. I'm not talking from Google search. I'm talking about from experience. So imagine if you're doing that with 2 or 3 facilities, $60K a month profit, not on revenue. I'm talking about profit. That's $180K profit, right? So these companies that are making billions of dollars, obviously they're doing probably $1 million days and different things, right? And it's okay. They started off where we were at. They started off, with the volume. Now that they're, Aya Healthcare is like 20 years out. I think they opened in like 2003, 2004. So they're not even like a long-term agency. Like Jackson Health, I think been around since either the early 90s or the 80s. I'm not too sure. But you can make money in this industry. Now, I have to be honest with you. You have to come into this industry knowing that you can do that, and you can't really listen to any outside noise, because you will hear a lot of, oh, the industry's saturated. It's not saturated. We don't have enough staff to fill the jobs that we need to be filled. Hey, Becky, we don't have enough. So there's always going to be a need, right? And I also want to tell you guys this. You do not need 10 facilities to grow your business to 6 figures or 7 figures. You don't. You need probably about 3 great facilities, 4 facilities that are giving you great volume. When I say volume, I mean open shifts. And you need probably about, I would say, 10 to 15 employees working 40 hours or even half of that weekly to get you there. So sometimes people think that they need this whole big, 10, 20 facilities because they're so focused on the contract. They're not going more deeper into exactly what they need to run this industry. They don't really know the back end of it. Like, you can have a contract signed, but it's nothing. They're not sending you over any ship, right? So you can have 10 contract, 8 of them, they're not sending you any ship. They'll say, hey, we'll call you when we need you. Or you ask founding questions when you're in the contract relationship building stage. Like, I asked, what does your weekly opening shifts look like? What does your volume look like? How often do you guys cancel shifts and stuff like that? So I asked these questions. That's my issue. 6,000 jobs from a vendor management, but hard to fill. Okay, what are you doing to fill those? The vendor management is good to. What are you doing to fill those, if you don't mind? What I was saying? No, I lost my train of thought. What I was gonna say? Are we talking about making money? So yeah, so you don't need 10 big contracts to make money, right? So have you tried getting direct contracts? Have you tried getting direct contracts? It's not hard. It's not hard. Let me tell you what's, I'm going to sidebar what I was saying. I'll come back to it if somebody can remind me what it was. It's not hard to get direct contracts. I'm going to tell you why. The vendor management is easier for some people because the contract and the job orders are already there. A lot of individuals, and I'm not saying this to you, I'm just saying what it is. A lot of individuals don't want to spend the time building the relationships to get the direct hire contracts. I never work with a vendor management system. I'm going to now to supplement everything I'm doing to add on. It's just always an add on. But I always had direct contracts. Never worked with the vendor management system in the 6 years. This is what I would do. I'm just telling you. I will go back to the drawing board. And I would get a direct contract. You will see the difference in the direct contract because with the direct contract, you're able to negotiate the rates. The vendor management, they have the rates. And with the direct contracts, you're able to build relationships. There are facilities out there that are looking for direct hires, right? Not direct hires, with direct contracts, right? Not every facility use vendor management. So I will go back to the drawing board. I will make a plan for getting direct contracts, and I will just keep at that plan. The number one thing in getting direct contracts is building relationships. That's what it is, building relationships. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you know your bill rates, right? Because I know with the VMS, they already have the bill rates there, right? So make sure you know your bill rates, the area that you're going in, what you're going to pay, it's going to cost you and all of that stuff, right? So you can make sure when you do your contract agreement that you have that on your contract agreement, right? And I would look in the area. I will research I will go on Indeed, look at what facilities. I'm gonna give you a little secret. I will go on Indeed and I will look at what direct facilities that are hiring that have a high sign-on bonus, like 5,000, 15,000, 20,000. That means that they're hiring, like they're desperate, and I will reach out to them. And I will say to them, I saw that you had a job ad on Indeed, or wherever you saw the job ad, and I see that you have a sign-on bonus for $15,000. What if I could get you staff and I could help you save on that sign-on bonus? Facilities love to save money because the administrator want that bonus at the end of the year. That's what I would do, right? So I would start off whatever area. I would go on Indeed, see who's hiring, create my list, and then I will work my list. All you need is one yes. The vendor management is also a supplement to your direct client. You're going to see on the direct client side how kind of more sweeter it is, right? Because you have that direct relationship with them. You can negotiate your own rates, right? And you can, like I said, you can negotiate your own rates. you send your own invoice and stuff like that. The vendor management is great to have too, because they have a large job order and stuff like that. I will also try, I don't know if you have tried, I would try all the travel Facebook groups. That's what I would do. I would try all the travel Facebook group, and I wouldn't pick, and with the vendor management, I wouldn't pick hard to fill areas. I will pick areas, I don't know where your agency is located, but I will pick areas if you're multi-state. I will pick areas that is populated. Like, I wouldn't go to North Carolina and pick Asheville, because Asheville is because I used to live in North Carolina, so I know it's like the mountainy. But I pick Charlotte, I pick Raleigh. I would pick like the very heavy concentrated areas, because I know that there's staff there. The populated, the city area. Like, I'm from New York. Go next. I'm from New York, and I would staff the city, because I just know I would staff like the Bronx, Manhattan. I would staff those areas because they have public transportation. People can get back and forth. And it's very heavy populated with professionals. So I know that I will get probably 50 applications if I put out a job ad in New York. So that's what I would do. Don't look at the areas, guys, that have 2 facilities or 1 facilities, because if an area in a state have 1 facility and they already have agency in the building, that means you're competing directly with that agency. There's no room for you there. You're competing with them, right? They're already in the area, you're competing with them. So what happened? You will have to charge more, and you won't get a lot of candidates, because probably all the staff that work agency already work with this one working with this one agency. You want to go to populated areas. So when you're looking at your list, this is just a rule of thumb. When you're looking at your list, you want to look at areas that have like 5 facilities, 10 facilities, 20 facilities, because that means that they have the staff to staff those facilities. That's why there's so much facilities in that area. You know, like these people that own these nursing homes, they think smart too. They think about staffing before they open up, right? Before they open up or before whatever. So they're thinking about areas that it's going to be easy also for them to get staff, because they're business people. So they're not going to go to an area. Well, some of them do, but majority of them are not going to go to a area that the staffing is going to even be more terrible than it was. You guys know what I mean? So they choose populated areas also. Like in New York, where I'm from, in the Bronx, we have literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have about 10 to 12 facility in a 5-mile radius. I used to live around the corner from the first facility that I worked at as a nurse, and I literally lived around the corner. And then like literally a two blocks walk down the block is another facility, and then up two blocks from there, when I say block, if you're from New York, you know, 2 blocks from there is another one. Right. And then like if I cross the bridge to where my high school was, it's another one over there. And then if I go up here, it's like, it's a very heavy area with nursing home, but it's also a heavy populated area with healthcare professionals. So they don't have no problem getting staff in the building. Right. And the agencies have no problem getting staff in the building. So that's what I would look at. I wouldn't look at an area where they only have 1 facility in the area. I wouldn't. Because I have shops all over, but Texas is best. Texas is really good. Texas is really, really, really good. I don't know if you do travel also, but yeah, Texas is good. Also. Yeah. You can send me a DM, or you can click the link in my bio. Let me make sure that the one-to-one tab is open. You can book a one-to-one with me. Hold on. Let me make sure that it's open. Unpublish. Okay, so it's going to be the first, let me move it to the top. It's going to be the first tab on the top. You can book a one-to-one with me, and we can have a deeper conversation and see where your goals are, and to map it out. There's a lot of money in this industry, and it's not even about the money. What I really want is for nurses, for healthcare professional to get into this industry. There's a lot of agencies up north. Yeah, it's New York. There's a lot of agency, but there's also a lot of staff, right? And there's a lot of facilities. I never worked in a facility where they didn't use agency in New York. And I was in New York for until 2017. So I was in New York for about 9 to 10 years at working. And before that, I was an LPN. So every facility up there, they use agency, right? I never worked at a facility in New York that was fully staffed. Yeah, they have a lot of agency because the money's up there, but that New York workers' comp and stuff is when you're starting up is pricey unless you have the capital. It's going to cost you about $10,000 to get it. But if you have the capital, go ahead. New York is amazing. It's amazing, and people always want to travel there. I don't know why, but they always do. What's the VMS? What do they do? So Anne Marie, a VMS is a vendor management system. So let's say Aya Healthcare have a vendor management. So let's say Aya Healthcare, I know they're partnering with Kaiser in California. So they hold the contract for Kaiser in California. Now, Kaiser is a huge healthcare facility. They're not going to sign 200-300 contract with every single healthcare agency that knock on their door, but they do need staff. So what the vendor management do is that they handle every single subcontractor, which is a standalone agency for Kaiser. They set the rates for Kaiser. They do everything. And you don't talk directly to Kaiser. You talk through the vendor management. They have all the job orders, right? They have all the job orders and everything. And you pick and choose where what job orders you want to fill. So a vendor, that's a vendor. We are vendors. We're considered as vendors, right? Or vendors is the agency, and they manage us. So that's why it's called a vendor management system, because the hospital is not going to they don't have the capacity to handle 200 or 300 vendor agencies. So it goes through Aya Healthcare. Aya Healthcare charge any vendor management. They charge a fee to use their platform. They charge a fee. Some charge 5%, some charge 10, some charge 15, some charge more. Like I said, their bill rates is already set in stone most of the time. So, you just have to pick and choose what's going to make best sense for you as the agency owner. I'm pretty sure if you're a travel nurse or you travel before and you've done a travel job, you have worked for a vendor management, because that's why sometimes we see that a lot of the different agencies, they will have the same job, but sometimes it'd be like $50 more, $100 more. They are partnered with a vendor management, and they're just trying to close that that job order. That's what a vendor management is. If you can get in with a vendor management as an agency, is really good, because it would expose you to a lot of job orders, but it doesn't negate the fact that you're going to have to still do the recruitment and the onboarding. You still have to do that for your agency, and then you have to apply them to the vendor management, and the vendor management have to approve them and all of that stuff. So you still have to know how to run the back end of your agency if you're going to partner with a vendor. A lot of vendors don't partner with new agency. I am trying to change that. I have something in the works that if you are a new agency, because I think it's unfair, you have to be like in 2 years, 3 years. And I think it's because, this is just my belief, I believe it's because you have to know what you're doing, and nobody in the vendor management space is not going to train you. Before COVID, like career staff, and I was signed on to career staff. I never used them. AMN vendor, I was signed on to a couple of vendors. I never used them. And Grapetree, they used to sign on with new agency. After COVID, a lot of that changed. I don't know what changed. I don't know what really changed, but I believe it's because you have to know what you're doing, and nobody really have the time to train you on how to submit an applicant, how should they be credentialed, what should they have, how to run a background check, how to run a drug screen, and how to make sure that they're like all the compliance stuff that you need to submit. There's nobody really on the vendor management side that's going to teach you that if you don't have that experience, right? You're going to have an account manager, and they can probably tell you certain things, but to sit and teach you that, they're not going to do that. So I think that's why a lot of vendors don't partner with brand new agencies. There are some out there, but not a lot of them like it used to be. Right. But I'm trying to change that. Working on something to help change that for my mentees. Like, so when they partner with me or when they go through my mentorship, they can start making revenue early. They don't have to wait. Right. I don't want to tell about the whole thing, but I'm working on something like that. Hopefully I have it launched by the end of the year. What else is going on? So that's bill rate. That's how you make money in healthcare staffing, making sure your race is right. So if your bill rate is $80, right, and you pay your nurse 60, and your burden is $6, or say everything is $5 and your profit margin is 15. So break that down, right? I'm gonna have this video on YouTube tomorrow so you can rewatch it. My YouTube channel, the Healthcare Staffing Agency, so you can rewatch it. It's very important you know your bill rates, because you can't say I want to make $1 million, but you don't even know if you're on the road to making $1 million. It sounds good. It's doable. Trust me, it's doable. But you need to know what you're putting into your agency to what you're getting out. A lot of PMS are saying 2 years is hard to find for new agencies. Yes, a lot of, like I'm saying, like before COVID, it was easy. Like before COVID, all you had to do was unruly. All you had to do was make sure you had your workers' comp, because you always had to add them to your insurance. And then once you're on the platform, you can see all the jobs and you can submit them and stuff like that. Because there's a learning curve to the vendor management also. But after COVID, they changed that. Like I said, I don't know what happened particularly. I just think that they don't have the time to teach the vendor, the new agency coming on, how to submit to the vendors. So I think that's a lot of it, because you have to be quick, because if you're just sitting on their platform and you're not helping them make any money, what's the sense, right? Because you don't know how to use the platform, or you don't know how to submit a candidate because you're brand new. So you don't really know what the compliance documents should look like. You don't know what a Hep B form should look like. You don't know what else? You don't know what's the skill set checklist. You don't know all of that. That stuff you learn, and in 2 years, I'm guessing they think you should have it, right? Or you should learn it. So like I said, it's a learning curve, and I think that's why they don't bring on a lot of new agencies with the vendor management system. There are agencies that do. I had a mentee that she got in with a vendor management, but she was very persistent. Like, she just called them, and I guess whoever she spoke to, she was lucky. And it was actually from Favorite Staffing, and she told him she was new, just give her a chance, she's willing to learn. And the guy took a chance on her, and it took her a while to get everything. It took her about 3 weeks to get everything uploaded, especially with the insurance, because they wanted it in a certain wording, the workers' comp, because you have to have them on your workers' comp. But she got in. So sometimes when a company tells you, no, we don't do this or we don't do that, sometimes you have to plead your case. Sometimes you have to be resilient and be like, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to do this, willing to do that. Sometimes if you take a no line down, they will just go on to the next, right? But because with her, she just kept on calling, wouldn't take no for an answer, kept on emailing. She worked it like she was working a regular contract. And she was able to get in with Favor Staffing, and she was brand new. She didn't even have a direct contract. She had just started her lead generation and talking to facilities and different things like that. So I think sometimes it depends on your persistence and your consistency too, because I have seen it, right? So that's all I have on bill rates. I'll see you guys. What's tomorrow? Friday. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk about compliance, because I read an article. I think it was last night. I was looking at an article, and this guy he owns an agency in Washington, D.C., and he was stealing identities. And I'm not laughing at the whatever, but I'm just like, it's crazy. He was stealing identities, and he was bringing in people that wasn't real nurses, and he was placing them through his agency to go to these facilities. And he made like $3 million or something before somebody said, hey, these nurses don't know what they're doing. Like, they don't even know how to take a blood pressure. They don't even know how, they don't know how to go left or go right. And he got charged with Medicaid fraud, because Medicaid and Medicare pays the facility, and basically he wasn't directly stealing from them, but he was stealing from them indirectly. So he's going to jail. But I say that to say this: compliance is very important in this business. Well, it's very important. And I'm not saying you're going to go out and steal people's identity to make whatever money, but I'm just saying that if you're not careful with your compliance, or if you miss a step with your compliance, or you don't feel like your compliance is as important, because some facilities are not going to check your documents. They're not going to, in your contract agreement, it tells them exactly all the compliance paperwork that every employee file have, and once you sign that contract, you're agreeing to that all of my employees have this. So they're not going to check your documents. But not because they're not going to check your documents doesn't mean that you can skip on compliance. You're going to hurt yourself. And that person don't know what they're doing. You don't need to send them. You don't need the money that bad. So tomorrow, I think it's very important that we talk about compliance. What does that look like for your healthcare staffing agency? And how do you stay compliant? Because like I always say, you have to treat your agency like a mini healthcare facility. And you have to be 100% compliant, right? If they don't have their TB test, and they be like, well, I'm going to get it done. Can I work before? No. If their name on their license or their paperwork is different from the, their driver's license is different from the name on their license or their business certificate, or their CNA certificate or whatever certificate, they need to show me that they either got married or this was their maiden name or some form of document. It's too much scamming, too much going on in nursing, and the government is cracking down on things like this. It's too much going on, and you don't want your agency to get caught up in those things. Do your credentialing properly. You can do I-9 verification on the computer. You can set up an I-9 verification account. Make sure that you do those things, right? Make sure that you are asking now, right, with everything that's going on with the whole scamming with the school things. Make sure that you're asking also for the diploma or the transcript. I want to make sure you're a real nurse. And I don't hire new nurses. That's one thing. I don't hire new nurses. CNA have to have at least 6 months experience, and LPNs, RNs have to have at least 1 year. So I don't hire new nurses anyway. But make sure that their credentials are great credentials. Make sure that it is. Do not take any black and white photocopies. These are like inside things I'm telling y'all. Make sure everything is since this is a remote business, make sure everything is original copy, stuff like that. Do a Zoom interview so you can see who you're talking to. They can see who they're working for. These are the things you have to do. You can do group interviews. You can do whatever you want. You can do group orientation via Zoom. It's a virtual business. You don't really have to leave your space, but you want to, not because it's a virtual business, don't think that there's no eyes on you, right? Because you don't show up to an office. Just be 100% compliant. So tomorrow we're going to talk about compliance. What does compliance look like? What the things that you need to make sure that your agency stay compliant, because you can get audited. You can get audited by Medicare. You can get audited. Right? Because like I said, they don't pay you directly, but they pay you indirectly through their client. If a client feel like something is not right, they can call the state on you. You can shut down. Right? Don't go through that. Don't take a chance with your business. Don't take a chance with the empire you're building. Don't. Right? Because you want to have this business for 20 years, for 30 years. You want to pass it on, or you want to make your money and do whatever else you want to do within the healthcare industry. This can just be a stepping stone to get you to where you want to get to. Right? It could be that, but you want to make sure that you're running it right. All right. So thank you guys for being on the live tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Happy Thursday. And if anyone have any questions for me, you can send me a DM. My link is open for until 10 o'clock. If you want to schedule a one-to-one, I don't usually leave it open, but I'm going to open it until 10 o'clock. If you want to schedule a one-to-one, if you want to get more in-depth information, we can sit and talk. Next week, Wednesday, the 10th, I'm doing a free live masterclass going more in depth on how, sorry, y'all, it's been an hour, on how to build a healthcare staffing agency. If you're interested in that, you can click the link in my bio. It's the second link in my bio, and you can register for the class for next week, Wednesday, the 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you and be blessed. And for my nurses, it's our time. And our healthcare professionals, it's our time. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you and be blessed. And for my nurses, it's our time. And our healthcare professionals, it's our time. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Thank you.